Hello everybody, it's Skill Up here with another Division video. First of all, I just have a small request. A lot of things that I'm going to say in this video are probably going to piss you off if you don't watch the whole video. So could I just ask that before you like or dislike or comment on this video, just listen to the whole thing and hear me out. The points I'm about to outline are sort of fairly multifaceted and a little bit complex, and I do risk getting tons of hate for this video, but like I did for my recent Century Smart Cover and Pulse video. But I'm going to take that risk because, there are a lot of people contacting me right now about how crushingly difficult they feel the Division is at the moment. And I ultimately just want to make this game easier and more rewarding for people. So this video is entirely about helping the community have a better experience. So I do hope that you take it in the spirit that it's offered. Right, so I hear heaps of talk about how the Division is currently too difficult in PVE. People point to NPCs one-shotting you when you have like 400k toughness, or needing 3 magazines of ammo to bring enemies down, or they think the Division is just too hard. But to be honest with you, the Division actually isn't hard at all. It's just really, really poorly balanced at the moment. This game is entirely balanced around a number of key abilities and gear sets that jack your stats by huge amounts, so that when you have these buffs and these gear sets, the game is like super simple. Like, honestly, in a PvE context, it's really simple to grind through this content when you play it the way that the game sort of asks you to play it. But when you don't have these buffs, you are utterly incapable of surviving most damage or bringing down your target. So what I'm going to show you in this video is a few important concepts that sort of heaps of people aren't going to accept or understand, because they really go against the fundamental way that they have been playing this game, or the way that they think they should be playing this game. And to be fair, I would in fact agree with them in part. It kind of sucks that due to the current game balance, if we're looking to be safe and efficient and effective in a PvE context, that we kind of need to gear and play in a very specific way. But look, this is just the way the game is at the moment. So we can either accept facts and play it this way, or we can fight against it and play in a less efficient and more risky style. And now I'm absolutely saying this is not the only way to play. Please feel free to play this game however you like. No one at all should tell you how to play this game. I'm just saying that if you want to make your life easier, if you are struggling with the difficulty of the Division, if you find the Division hard right now, then these things that I'm about to outline are going to be the number 1, 2, 3, and like 10 things that are going to make your life a lot easier. So first of all, these are the key points I'm going to outline. First of all, Firearms is a completely useless stat and should be pretty much ignored. Secondly, the value of Toughness drops significantly after about 400k, as this is the point at which you can comfortably tank level 35 shotgunners while you are in a properly buffed smart cover. Number 3, Electronics is king and boosts your team's total damage output and mitigation in a way that you could never do by stacking Firearms and Toughness. Number 4, you can hard carry your groups through heroic content with a stacked Electronics build. You cannot hard carry a group through content through any other build. It's just not possible. Number 5, Stagger is your new best friend in PvE. It mitigates even more damage than armor or smart cover, since enemies literally cannot fire their weapons the majority of the time. This makes the Reclaimer gear set and shotguns extremely powerful in a PvE context. And finally, number 6, DPS does not mean anything in PvE, since enemies or encounters, they don't have any like timers or enrage timers or any kind of mechanic that involves bringing that target down really fast or paying some sort of consequence. So we can literally just grind everything down really slowly so long as we don't die. Now, don't worry about your DPS, just worry purely about staying alive above all else, and getting the right amount of toughness and maintaining 100% buff time on your uptime on your buffs. That's the way to do it. That is the way to eventually break content. Now, is this the funnest way to play the game? Absolutely not, but it works. And for those of you that struggle with the difficulty of the Division right now and complain about how hard PvE context is, I'm going to break all of this down for you so that you can start doing this yourselves, and you're going to see some very big results. So Let's begin. First of all, Firearms is your shittest stat, and it is the least important stat in PvE. Now, I've made this comment before and people went absolutely crazy, but honestly, your Firearms doesn't mean shit when it comes to your total damage output. You get so much damage from other stuff like crit chance, crit damage, headshot damage, damage versus elite, enemy armor damage, weapon talents, gear set bonuses, all of this stuff, right? Plus there's like I haven't even mentioned the abilities like Pulse and Smart Cover and gear sets like, you know, Sentry's Call and Strikers and whatever, right? If you were in a properly buffed group with Pulse, Smart Cover, and Sentry's Call, your personal gear stats would equate to about 20% of your total damage output. The rest of your 80% of damage actually comes from all of the buffs that you are getting from everything else, right? So don't worry about hitting your weapon talents. Don't worry about maximizing your on-sheet DPS. All of that is totally meaningless. And I know that heaps of you are listening to this right now and you're going to think, that's bullshit. I can't believe this. Swear at you, Skill Up. I'm not going to swear on my channel. I'm going to try and avoid that. But look, it's unquestionably true at this point. Firearms is just woefully inefficient. So just ignore it if you are serious about making endgame content really easy. And again, it's not about making it fun. It's not about the only way to play the game. It's just about if you want to make it easy and get it done, then don't worry about Firearms. It really doesn't help you that much. So what do you focus on then? Well, let's talk about toughness. Sure, toughness is really important, but don't overdo it. The thing is, even if you have like 700k toughness, like Marco style, for instance, in his perfect tactician build, he still gets two-shot by enemy shotgunners because the game is actually not balanced by you having really high toughness. It's actually balanced around you having Smart Cover, which provides you up to 75% damage mitigation on top of your 75% armor cap. In PvE, around 400k toughness is fairly optimal because at this point, with a proper Smart Cover, you'll actually be able to confidently tank about 2 to 3 shots from an enemy shotgunner depending on how far away they are from you, which will give you and your team more than enough time to stagger that shotgunner and bring them down entirely. You're also completely immune to one-shots from snipers when you're in Smart Cover with 400k toughness. No sniper will be able to kill you if you're at full health. Absolutely impossible. So that's toughness. So what's the most important stat for you to be stacking if you really want to make PvE easy? Electronics. It's always been this way, and until massive rebalance Smart Cover and Pulse, it will always be this way. These two buffs provide you and your party up to 60% bonus damage, up to 75% mitigation, 40% crit chance, 100% critical hit damage, plus Smart Cover heals you and reduces your cooldown timers. If you bring a fully stacked Pulse and Smart Cover to the table in every group that you run with, be it organized group or matchmake, you will almost never have a problem with heroic endgame content unless your group is really bad, in which case you are probably stuffed anyway. Now, consider this. You putting like an extra 1500 points into your Firearms may up your DPS by about 20%, right? But averaged out across a group of 4 people, that's an increase of 5% for the entire group, okay? Consider instead putting an extra 1500 into your electronics and bringing Smart Cover. Now you're providing the entire group 50% more damage, right? Up from 5% compared to 50%. And you are also providing 75% mitigation if that Smart Cover is fully stacked, and constant healing and reduced cooldowns. Now add a Pulse to that and you're now providing a further 10% damage plus critical hit chance and damage. So this is why Firearms is so shit, okay? It only helps you by a very small amount, and it only helps you, where electronics sort of helps everyone by a ridiculous amount. And the best part is how easy it is to hit the required skill power amount, which I'd say is around 45k. So first up, if you like and you have it, you can run with 2-piece Tacticians, which is like a free 4k skill power straight out the gate, right? Then you have your mask and your backpack, which you can recalibrate to an extra sort of 18k skill power. And then we only need like 2 gear pieces to roll with electronics, and we're sitting at our desired 45k. The rest of it can go into the armor cap and into stamina, because as I've said, Firearms is just useless in PvE. My Reclaimer set here that I'm showing you now is a really average set, okay? It's got heaps of pieces below 268, and you know, 2 crappy low-level tacticians like 240 or whatever, but already you can see that I've hit a decent level of toughness and that I have plenty of skill power, and I really haven't tried very hard with this set, okay? I literally have not aimed to collect any Reclaimer at all. It's just very, very easy to do this. So casual players can do this with just a little bit of time and effort, and it can have a really transformative impact on the way that you play. So to be clear, what are the abilities that we need to bring to really make content easy? Well, we've already talked about Smart Cover and Pulse, and you can actually bring both of these yourself, which is really helpful, right? So if you want to run a fully stacked electronics build, you can bring both of these buffs to the table. It's going to be a huge, huge boost to your group. On top of that, if you're in the underground running the waste not directive, which burns your ammo when you reload, I'd really recommend bringing ammo cache, as it essentially gives you free ammo. So when matchmaking, try to ensure that someone brings this buff, and if they don't have it, just drop your Pulse, okay? Pulse is like, you can never ever run without Smart Cover due to the mitigation it provides. Like, you can never run without Smart Cover, but you can run without a Pulse, because it basically just means that it takes longer to kill stuff. So for a really coordinated group, you can also run Trapper mod to debuff the enemy's cover. They'll take more damage. But you know, I'd also really recommend Immunizer Station if you're going to run Heroic Dragon's Nest due to the crazy amounts of fire in there. So a few other little tips to help you on your way. Reclaimer is amazing. I know PS4 players can't get this yet, but you will be able to soon. And I'm already willing to call this set the best matchmaking gear set. It's a bold claim, but I really think it's true. The utility that this set provides you through the faster healing station is really nice, but the stagger that it provides you through explosive rounds is an absolute game changer. Like, Smart Cover reduces incoming damage by about 75%, okay? But explosive rounds literally stops your enemy from dealing damage altogether, since they are typically perpetually staggered. It's like they're constantly CC'd. It's just crazy that this exists in the way that it does, so abuse it as much as you can in PvE. This is also what makes shotguns extremely strong. Anytime a target gets close to my team, I just whip out my sausage. Settle down, everyone. And I just like keep them in a permanent state of stagger, right? That's just bam, 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 and they just can't do anything, okay? So it feels really strong at this point, and you know, if you haven't tried it, I'd really recommend doing so, because yeah, I mean, it's very, very, very easy to chain stun, to chain stagger a target at this point. And finally, on weapons, consider using an LMG for targets at range. Now, LMGs have a built-in bonus for the amount of suppression that they provide, meaning that you can very easily suppress a target, which keeps them locked down and not firing. Now, this can be really annoying at times, because sometimes you'll be wanting to shoot an enemy while it keeps ducking behind cover, but you know what? That actually doesn't matter, because you know how long it takes you to kill shit in this game doesn't matter at all, because there are no timed encounters or enrage mechanics that force us to bring down enemies really quickly. Sure, in the underground we have these like destroy ammo cache fairly quickly missions, and we have the ones where you have to like chase down a target, but you know, we get like, for instance, on the chase down a target, we have 20 minutes to do that, and it typically takes you like 10 minutes to finish that entire mission. It's really fast most of the time. So I've never come anywhere close to that to being able to run out of time. I don't think you will be either. So the key point here is that the LMG is really good safe DPS, because you can keep your enemies locked down, and it makes no difference how long it takes to kill a target or to finish off an encounter, because unlike every other MMO, there's no penalty for just grinding down your enemy really slowly by healing through their damage. It's absolutely a little bit more boring than like one-shotting them with an M44 for 2.5k to 2.5 million to the head, but it works 100% of the time. So by now, some of you are probably listening to all this and thinking, oh my god, skill up, you elitist jerk. You always play in organized groups, so of course this shit seems really easy to you. Now here's a little secret. I actually matchmake in this game way more than I play with friends because most of my friends have quit this game, right? So I matchmake a lot, okay? And I do it both with my electronics gear and without my electronics gear just to see the differences. And the difference is huge. Like a massive portion of the groups that I matchmake with are not bringing a buffed smart cover, pulse, or ammo cache. And these groups will almost surely fail because in those groups, all it takes is one lone shotgunner to break our ranks, to kill the person that has our smart cover, which means we can't ever get smart cover back at that point, and that just wipes us immediately. So what do I do to counter that when I'm solo matchmaking? I bring a reclaimer set, right, with a bit of tactician mixed in there. I get to 46k skill power. I bring smart cover, which brings 60% damage, and it's with pulse as well. 40% crit chance, 100% critical hit damage, roughly, and not quite at the caps, but I'm close enough. Whatever, we'll just round it up. And I also bring constant uptime on explosive rounds. I bring an LMG for suppression, and I bring a shotgun for any enemies that make it up close. And look, don't worry if you don't have reclaimers. It doesn't matter. You can just replace it with pretty much any other gear set so long as it's sort of got plenty of skill power on it and electronics. Okay, even Sentry's Call. I haven't even mentioned Sentry's Call. You could like run a stacked electronics Sentry's Call gear set, which would be, well, sort of better than this from a damage perspective, but you would lose the stagger on the explosive round, so I actually wouldn't recommend that. But look, regardless, I literally hard carry groups through heroic content, match-made groups, right? Not through individual skill. There is no skill in anything that I'm talking to you about. It's purely just the raw stats that I bring to the table for my group and the stagger that I provide through, through Reclaimer and my shotgun that's essentially permanently CCing enemies. So that's my advice to all of you. If anyone feels like this game is too hard right now in PvE, that matchmaking is pointless and that nothing works, please get yourself a proper electronics build and literally just hard carry your match-made teams to victory. I guarantee you that if you try this, it's going to work. Maybe not every single time, but I think a solid 8 out of 10 times you are going to see success because it just has such a massive impact on your overall team's power and efficiency. But I know other people are saying like, skill up. You told us that like you shouldn't be telling anyone how to play like one specific way. Diversity is okay, and I did say that, right? And again, I'm not telling you that this is the only way to play. You can play however you like, and I encourage that because you need to play whatever is fun for you. But for instance, I really enjoy a firearms focused Sentry's Call build because right now it makes me feel really strong, right? And I've been really vocal about the fact that it makes me feel too strong, but it's cool just to feel that strong. And similarly, like Lone Star and Firecrest, I really like that combination with an LMG and with a shotgun with the really quick reload and the bonus damage to shotguns and LMGs. I really like feeling powerful by virtue of my own gear and weapons, right? Not through the buffs that I'm receiving. However, like when I do this, I recognize that I am being suboptimal. I'm playing the way that I enjoy, but I know that I could be doing more damage and I could be doing it more safely by using an electronics build. So by all means, please play however you like, but if you want to get the job done safely and you want to carry match-made teams to victory, please stack electronics. I promise you it will make your life a million times easier. So at this point, it would be really fair to say that content isn't badly balanced. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I think it's badly balanced, and you could absolutely argue that it's perfectly balanced since it's really forcing groups to bring the right combination of builds and buffs and sort of leveraging the squad-based intent of this game. And in part, I agree with this thinking, but again, I really disagree with the degree of tuning that is applied to this logic, right? So right now, there is no diversity in the skills that we are bringing to the table. There is literally only like 3 skills that we actually care about. It's like pulse and smart cover and heal maybe and ammo station if we're doing underground. Okay, the rest of them are just whatever, we don't even care, and that really sucks. The worst part of all of this though is the split second that those buffs go down, our teammates essentially go from being unstoppable and being invulnerable to just going like tissue paper. We go from being highly effective DPS to essentially shooting marshmallows. The 20% of the time that you will fail with this build, you know, is typically when your smart cover drops off at the exact moment that a sniper or a shotgunner gets a good line on you, takes you out or the other person running electronics in your group, so that you no longer have smart cover, and then everything falls apart from there. No one buff or two buffs should have such a gigantic influence on whether or not you succeed or fail in a given moment. And that's why I think this content is poorly balanced. Not to mention how much all of this pushes out solo players who can't always bring all of these buffs to the table, since they typically need to reserve at least one ability slot for heal. So the game feels kind of automatically out of whack for them, and it means they really can't compete solo, right? So that's why I think things are badly balanced, and that's why I think that things should be changed, should be balanced, okay? I'm not going to use the word nerfed because everyone goes nuts when I use that word, but surely we can agree that some of the abilities need to be buffed up. Some of them need to be tuned down so that when I don't have them, I don't immediately fall over in a heap. No content should be balanced around one or two core abilities, because it just makes the rest of the game feel shit when that happens. Anyway, that is my view on this. That's the TLDR is, please just stack electronics. If you've got reclaimers, bring it. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Suppress your enemies with LMGs and stagger them with explosive rounds and shotguns, and just take it easy. Don't worry about bursting stuff down. Don't worry about big DPS on your character sheet in PVE, because you don't need to kill things fast. Just kill it really slowly and safely, and you're actually going to find after a while that the game is really simple. And anyone wondering about, oh, how do I get the gear to get to the point where I could do this, you know, sure, you will need to put in a bit of time at the lower levels of difficulty, but just keep investing in your electronics and you're going to gear up a little bit, you know, and then matchmake and put on some cheesy higher level Lone Star gear when you matchmake into a group so that you don't get kicked at the beginning, and then when you start the mission, change to your real stuff then. Or tell your group that you're going to be bringing like a massive stacked electronics build for a big smart cover, and just say, I've got Reclaimer in my bag, but it's lower gear score. Let me do that. And then most likely these people will not kick you, you know? So I know that's a struggle for match-made players as well who are lower gear score, and that's my advice. Just like cheat the system, put on some high-level stuff, start the mission, then switch to your real stuff, because gear score is a really shitty measure of how powerful you are, and you should never be kicked from a group on the basis of that. Anyway, guys, that's it. I am sure this is going to generate a lot of discussion, but I really hope that everyone sort of understood where I'm coming from in this, that I do not think the division is hard right now. I think the division is badly balanced, and there's a big difference. Dark Souls is hard and really well balanced, okay? It's a perfect example, right? The division is not hard. It's really easy so long as you stack a few things. And once you have those, you're going to find them really simple. And the fact that you can do that shows that the game is badly balanced at this point around a few key sets and abilities that I think sort of disrupt overall game balance significantly. That's my thesis. Would love to hear your views on that. If you liked this video, please drop it a like. If you disliked this video, please drop it a dislike. If you've made it this far, I appreciate your time heaps. Absolutely smash that dislike button if you feel that it's worth it, because regardless, I appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to listen. Take good care of yourselves, guys, and I will see you in the dark zone now. Bye-bye.